What's up? I'm Janelle Nguyen. I use she, her pronouns, and I work as a learning and development specialist in higher education. And I'm here at South by Southwest with Philly Goes to College.
All right, we are here at South by Southwest Edu with Janelle Nguyen. Janelle, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Janelle Nguyen. I use she, her pronouns. I currently live in Los Angeles, and I work as a learning and development specialist. I'm a higher ed professional, and I'm a former swimming student athlete.
All right, and what brings you to South by Southwest EDU?
I'm stoked to be on a panel talking about accidental activism, so kind of the intersection between being a student athlete and becoming an activist, and somehow, and sometimes it's not on purpose, and we become kind of in the spotlight, and people look to us to guide them through some really difficult times in the world, and especially since 2020, for sure.
So what advice would you give to high school athletes as they prepare for college and career?
There's a lot of things I would say that we can talk about offline, so find me on LinkedIn. Just kidding. But I think one of the most important things for high school student athletes to think about is what is going to be the best fit for you and your family financially, and also thinking about your future. As much as I wanted to swim my whole life, I knew that my time was going to end. So making sure that I had a plan and at least some type of idea of what I wanted to do after, because I had to make sure I got to make that money. I want to pay my rent. So that was one of the most important things. And then also financially, for me, it was really important. I didn't have the means to pay for school, so it was really important for me to find a scholarship and a place that would be willing to support me as well.
And so if I'm a high school student athlete looking to determine which college is my best fit, you already mentioned finances.
Yeah.
But how else can I know if a school is going to support their student athletes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you ask the questions right away. I think it's super important to ask questions about DEI. It's important to ask about how you have student athlete academic support. It's important to ask about mental health and well-being, nutrition, all these different things. And of course, people are going to tell you what you want to hear, especially if you're a good athlete. But I think it's just having that willingness and ability to discern what is true and what actually is going to happen.
And so were you ever able to talk with students, other students, especially maybe other swimmers, before you got on campus to kind of, again, get a sense of like, okay, what's the real story here?
Yes, so I was really fortunate. My sister swam in college before me, so it was really nice to see someone go through the process before. I also was able to talk to people at the different universities I was thinking about, and I really felt like I was able to build a rapport and get the real stuff instead of them just telling me the stuff that their coaches wanted them to say.
So as a student athlete in college, how did you balance athletics, academics, and any other responsibilities you had going on, and a social life?
Well, not well. I definitely struggled. I think I was not always the best student in the world, so it was really hard for me to move into an environment where I was doing fine before and I was actually expected to learn. I know, huge, right, in college. But I think for me, what the most important thing is what was my goal and what did I want to accomplish in my time at university. So I knew I wanted to get a degree, and I knew that I wanted to have some type of work experience while I was swimming. And so I was able to figure that out through talking to my mentors and also just being willing to kind of hustle and figure out what I wanted to do. Now, am I working in stadium operations right now? No, but it was a great experience that I was able to get that worked around my swimming schedule and academics.
And so you've already kind of hinted at this in a few of your other responses, but, we talk to a lot of high school students who say, we're interested in playing basketball, we're interested in playing soccer, we're not interested in going to college because we don't need it.
Yeah.
What would you say to a high school student athlete who says, I don't need college because I'm going to be an athlete instead?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable. I think there's a lot of barriers with college. I think college is scary. I think that it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, energy, and effort, and then the fact that you might have to spend a lot of money to move somewhere across the country, I totally understand that. I think that college is really pivotal. It was really pivotal for me to learn about who I am, what I want to do, and what's important to me. It taught me how to live on my own. It taught me how to deal with people, work as a team. And so I'm very thankful for that experience. and I ended up living in Las Vegas.
So we heard on a panel yesterday from a speaker who said, I didn't know there were other careers instead of being a musician until I was 30. Are there kind of hidden careers like that in sports as well? If a student is interested in athletics, but maybe, isn't, for whatever reason on track to be a professional athlete, what other careers in sports are there behind the scenes that students might not know about?
Oh yeah, so I first started out and thought the only places to work in sports were college athletics and professional sports. And what I've learned is that there are so many roles that are sport adjacent where you still get to have the impact, but maybe you get to have more money and a life. And so I think that's huge. I think about all the sponsorships that go into different sporting brands. Like I think about Austin FC is sponsored by Yeti. So working for Yeti and their partnerships team, hey, guess what? You're working with sports, and that's awesome. And again, you don't necessarily have all those sports hours. You don't have to be working 14 hours a day, and you're probably getting paid a little bit more. So I think that is one of the coolest things that I've had to explore, and I've been able to share with other people that working in sports can be so many different things, and it is not just football. It's not just soccer or football, if you want to call it that. And there's so many different avenues, and you can be involved in sport in whatever way you want.
All right, our two final questions we ask everyone. First, what was your best college memory?
I think probably one of my favorite memories was my last race I swam in college. I got to swim it next to one of my best friends, and it was a total accident, and I had no expectations. And during that race, I was like, wow, I actually feel pretty good in the water. So it was just a really nice moment to capitalize on a really tumultuous career. And so I feel really positive about the way I ended my swimming career.
School self.
I would say calm down. I think that everyone runs their own race, and my life I don't think has gotten settled until maybe like a year ago. And so I was so worried about catching up with everyone else and being ahead of the curve and all that. But my life has turned out just fine, and I've learned a lot, and I'm actually really happy that things have not turned out how they were supposed to. So I would just be patient and be okay with the fact that life is full of twists and turns, but it's going to end up how it's supposed to end up.
I love that. Thank you so much, Janelle.
Yes, thank you.